Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Welcome back. Lots to talk about today. And this affects you in many ways, and you might not even be aware of it. We're going to talk about the moon situation. Right away, we're going into woo-woo territory. I just know it. It is what it is. But it's so important, especially to be authentic. How do you know that you are authentic? That's one of the many things that we're going to talk with Holly Wells, who joins us once again. How you doing?
I'm doing great. So good to be here.
Wonderful to have you back. How would you describe yourself? If somebody, like, I'm a podcast host, I'm a radio guy, that kind of thing. Somebody sees you on the street, they know a little bit about what you do, but they don't know what you are. And I hate labels, but what would you say you are?
I'm going to say a change agent.
Interesting.
Because that kind of goes through everything I do with, corporate America. I help companies implement systems or process improvement, right? Just become comfortable with any changes they're making. That's the whole point. And then as a personal life coach, I think I help people through, things they're struggling with or achieving their goals. So I think change agent.
I love that. And you're a change agent using what type of tools or more modalities?
Well, I haven't really spoken about it with you, and I haven't really talked about it, but I really do believe in sound and energy healing.
Okay.
So that's part of it. I do truly believe, and it's been proven, I think, that all the things around us, because again, in our aura, getting really woo-woo now, that's where we really have all of our illnesses before they come into our bodies, and then we actually get sick and it becomes a physical problem. So if we can stop them before they get all like nestled in there, that's the best, right? So that's what I'm always trying to say is one of my practices is I'm really good at, I used to tell my mom, I think I'm bipolar, right? And she's like, Holly, you just feel things really strongly, but use it like the weather. If you're upset, get upset. You're mad, God, get mad. But then you know what? Let it go. You're pissed at someone, tell them you're mad. I mean, that's the one thing that I really love about, I used to have mostly men friends, and my whole point was they're authentic. You know what I mean? It's like I have this problem where I kind of found women were catty. I found the Southern charm. I'm like, they're just mean behind your back and nice to your face. I can't take that. So call it what it is. If you're mad at someone, get it out. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Funny you should say that, because in my journey, I have all new friends, got divorced, blah, 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 blah. Like lots of new friends, and they more and more showing up. However, most are or were women. That's it. I'm in a group chat with them. How's it going? We talk. It's, I'm not your typical man. I feel, however, I have now started bringing more men into. I joined a men's group. Just better balance. But I hear what you're saying. Right. I'm not being negative here, but I hear what you're saying.
No. Agreed. And you have to have both. That's the whole balance.
Yeah.
We definitely need to have all those things, but it's just funny when you go through a time of that. And it was just at a time that I just felt like, oh my gosh, the lady friends I was hanging out with were going through a moment of pettiness, and I just wasn't there with that energy. You know what I mean? But obviously my very good friends are obviously women and men, but yeah, it's just a stereotype, and sometimes you can't take it. And when you can't, you got to be authentic and go with that.
Yeah.
Going through something, and that's one of the things, Myers-Briggs, I'm sure you've done that at one point. It's that personality test. Have you ever done it?
Did we? Oh, we didn't talk about that. Oh, can I share?
Yeah.
So I'm on the board of the Girl Scouts, and they suggested that we take one of these personality tests. Clifford Strengths is the one that I took.
Okay.
And that was, I don't know, maybe like 4 months ago, whatever. Whoa. So it's 30 minutes, rapid fire questions on your phone. Yeah. And you get 34 strengths identified. Number one strength was communication. All right. I'm not surprised.
Not shocking. Yeah.
All right. I've been doing that since I was a kid. Number two strength, surprised me, or maybe not, empath. See,
there you go. And nice.
It's funny because I'm the one that usually calls out everybody else on being an empath. Like, do you know you're an empath? You're as a nurse, you're tired every third day and you have to take it off because you take it on. Do you realize why that is? But I never even looked at myself being an empath. I totally get it now. But I didn't realize
that's one of the things. It's so much easier to see things in others than yourself, positive and negative. That's why I'm an INTJ when it's the Myers-Briggs, and the J at the end. I is introvert. The first thing, and I'm not going to remember them all. It's been years since I've taken this, but I don't say that with pride because, I'm trying to not be judgmental, but my last one is judgment. So clearly, I is introvert. And the other one,
that doesn't make any sense, but please continue.
yes. And then the next one is like nature versus something else. Like, do you analyze everything? And I love nature, so that's going to be nature for me. And then the other one is either like thinking or practicing. I don't remember what they all are. I hate to say Myers-Briggs, but look it up, what you just said, because I just went back for whatever reason and I read just my profile. Because again, I did remember that I'm an INTJ and nailed it. Like, it is 100% me. So if you honestly take these tests and you just don't fudge them, because what's it going to do? It's just learning about yourself. Why would you fake it? So if you really answer them, it's very insightful.
Ooh, I gotta tell you, I haven't circled back to it. I'm very busy, and my head is still spinning on the first two. So I didn't really look, and I was low as a strength in terms of competitiveness, and it was weird for me, but it's funny when I was taking the test because it was last minute. It was the night before the meeting. I'm laying in bed like, I got to go to bed. I'm like, just like,
Yeah.
I was intentional about being real about it, but I didn't put a lot of weight into it. Now, again, I answered honestly, but I was just like, but even that's what came back. I can't imagine if I was like, let's call it, I was like 85% focused on it. If I was 100%, I can't even imagine. They are so accurate.
But that could be okay because you weren't overthinking anything.
Maybe.
They say your first response is the best. Like, I'm a good test taker. That's one of the ways I always excelled in school. Some people get nervous or like freak out, and usually that's one of my skills. But it's the same thing, how you just said you don't think you're competitive, and it's just not what drives you. Doesn't mean you don't like competition. Just like I'm an introvert doesn't mean I don't like being external. You know what I mean? So you shouldn't get hung up on it, but it is very interesting.
I want to process it a little bit more and just look at the key, where it gives you a paragraph for each of those strengths. But the moon situation, I have my friend Dawn, of course, back to the women again, posted that in our group chat. What's going on?
Well, it's a full moon today. We always seem to get together on these cosmic moments. No coincidence, right? So we all know I'm always about purging on the moon, because that's what we should be doing, is really purging of anything, releasing all that no longer serves you, because we all should. Like I just said about the weather, don't hold things in you that don't make sense anymore. That was one of my things when I joined mystery school. We kind of found out what numbers we were and did all the stuff with the archetypes. And I'm a 3. So I was a 3, and that has to do with no shocker here, like you just said, being aligned with Gaia and nature, which of course I'd already started. I love nature. So this is totally out there for me. So very hilarious.
What did you just say? That we're at a period right now where don't hold back, express, get it out there?
Yes.
Let it go. You should say that. Long story short, a relationship ended for me 2 days ago, and that's what it and it was already, the plane was already coming down, but in the very end, it was both sides. This is how I feel. Yeah. I've held this in because I can't talk to you because blah, 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 blah. The plane already crashed. That was kind of like the nail in the coffin. But it's funny that you say that because this kind of came to light.
And this is the time to really, really let it go. In the beginning of this week, Veterans Day, whatever we call it now, it used to be Armistice Day, but that's a very critical day. And it happens to be the starting of truly a 40-day purge, which if you count the days, it starts on 11/11, and there's 40 days of purging, what we just said, just really releasing, getting rid of things that no longer serve us. I brought up how I was a 3, and the reason I'm bringing that up again is that really I'm like attached to all this, and gardening is my big thing. It's a big hobby, but really what my archetype is that, because I just try to do too many things, which again, totally is me. I'm like, I want to write a book, I want to do a podcast, we've been working for other stuff, I want to do coaching, couldn't think of more things to do. I'm never one of those bored people. I'm reading multiple books at one time, so my thing was, when you have a really pretty garden, what do? You got to weed it, right? So that's the whole thing. Know when something, to your point, a relationship's time to let go. And it doesn't mean you don't like that person, you don't like spending some time with them, but it wasn't right. Right.
It wasn't right.
Is the time to just purge some things and weed it. And again, weeds are in the eye of the beholder. There's some weeds that grow that I think are beautiful. My sister laughed. She was last year somewhere at one of these nurseries by her, and she was purchasing some goldenrod because, again, they're very pretty. They're tall. She wanted them to put in her garden, and she laughed because she knows that's really a weed. She goes, I don't know if I feel dumber that I'm buying it knowing it's a weed, or people are buying it and don't know it's a weed, right? So again, it's all just perspective.
Wow. And might I add to all of this, right on the heels of this full moon, and is it tonight?
It is today. Yes, I think at 2:48 our time, Eastern time.
Interesting. Mercury retrograde.
Yes, always fun. And what's really coming with this one, and this is per someone that I've been following who I just really respect. His name's Alan Clay, and he's actually the founder of, it's very fun. If anyone out here, is an extrovert, they might really love this, looking him up. So he's founded Dwarf Planet University, and it's really because he has really been focusing on the outer planets, and some people don't want to call them planets. Remember how Pluto was? It wasn't. Again, doesn't much matter. It's out there. So they've now found magically many more out there. So he's actually written many books, but the latest one, I want to get the name of it right. What's it called? I have it written down somewhere because I wanted to say it correct. Oh, New Stars for a New Era. That's what it is. And again, everything appears at the time we need it, right? And so all of these are planets, stars, whatever people would like to call them. And they are really anchoring in the energies of other planets that are here, but like taking them to the next level. So that's why he's brought it up, wrote the book about it, and he gives courses on it. It's all just fascinating. And it's because we're going into this rapid change of consciousness, like up leveling. So that's why we're in this 40-day purge. So get rid of the crap that you don't need. Don't bring that suitcase of junk with you, right? Like I've said before, get rid of all that stuff to open up and have space to accept in all this wonderfulness. And speaking of the wonderfulness coming, if you align all of your chakras, which I always love to talk about, we spoke about before, that's when, they say there's 7 chakras. We're all pretty aware of that. There's really 12. Some people think more, right? So the way you align to them, and I've personally done this myself, and that's why, again, my book is centering on wired. I feel like I'm an antenna. We all are, right? Because we're actually all beings that receive and send messages constantly. And when I opened my balanced my 7 chakras, I really connected to Gaia. I felt a true connection. That's when, being the shaman, you feel, the energy, you feel trees, like you touch them and literally it's not just nice, you feel their energy, right? I could go outside and I talk to the planets and I could like feel them, so it's really, once you connect the 7, you open up more, and that's when you kind of become more aware. And that's where I want to get into that concept of Dharma. So Dharma is really, I think this time we're kind of getting these nudges. That's why it's really important to purge. And then we're really connecting into this. Dharma is like tickling us. It's like your guides are right around you and the Dharma is like coming in really strong, because this is the time to step into our authenticity, what we just said. So you need to have a lot of room and be authentic and stand in your authenticity to manifest what you want, because we're rapidly manifesting. So whatever you focus on, you're bringing more of into your world. So don't think of those lower vibration energies. Don't think of shame, guilt, fear. Stand away from all those things. Doesn't mean we don't have them, but like I said, think of them like the weather. Let it go. We all have lower feelings at some point. You would be crazy if you only were on the high. That would be insane, So you need to have the lows and the highs. But yeah, so this is really that time.
So before we get to Dharma,
yeah,
we opened with planning to talk about authenticity.
Yes.
And this all comes into play with the Dharma and the karma.
Yes.
How do you know you are really your authentic self?
Yes. Well, hopefully everyone will feel more and more in touch with their intuition. As I say, our guides are really here for us. And when you feel it, to me, it's just like that cozy feeling, like when you're sitting there and you think, wow, I just want soup or macaroni and cheese or whatever your favorite comfort food is. It's just that comfort. Like when you come back to center, I always say that when you're feeling crazed, calm yourself, take a couple deep breaths, come back to center, focus. To me, that's the kind of realigning with your intuition, all of those things. And when you're aligned with your intuition, you feel authentic, right? It's like a knowing. You know when you're being authentic. And again, when you're stepping out in your authenticity, that's when your guides support you. So we all have guides. And I kind of was, being an introvert, kind of creeped out when they were like, and your guides are all around you. I'm like, oh, they're always watching me. Like, it's one of those things was kind of freaking me out. But then someone else explained it to me that your guides are all versions of you, right? So then I felt much better. I'm like, oh, okay. So it's really me around me guiding me, So then I was like better. No, I just felt better than there were like creepy people hanging out.
I'm intrigued here about the authenticity that it's your intuition. So all right, let's look at this, and then we're going to move on from it. But if you feel that your intuition is a little higher than maybe usual, does that mean you potentially are becoming more authentic? And of course, when we talk about like ending relationships, you're not being your authentic self many of the times in relationships that don't support you, because you're not being you. You're holding back on saying something. It's not going in the direction you want to, and it just feels like it's going against your grain. Am I explaining that right?
Yes. And as we were talking about the guides, perfect, because what I, again, think is that your guides are always here, but you can repress them. I'm a master at that. I was really good at, if I didn't want to hear something, just repress that, just turn that down, ignore that little small talk in my head, right? Just really, really let that go down. And the more you don't listen to them, they kind of are around, but they're like, well, they're busy. They don't really care. Doesn't mean you don't have any intuition, but you're not using it. You're not listening to it. So they're like, yeah, okay, they're still helping you, but it's not there. But man, when you are clicking and they're giving you signs and you're following them and you're taking action, then they give you more and they're supporting you more. And so that's why when you said you feel your intuition more, it's because they're there and they know you're really acting on it. So they're giving you more. They don't want to overwhelm you if you're already too busy or not in the mood to listen to them. It's like anybody. You're like, well, I'll kind of talk to you later.
Wow. Super cool. Because I got to tell you, and it's not about me, but just to illustrate the point, I feel in the last few months, my intuition has been higher, and I feel like I've tuned into it. And I just feel that, what you said, that calm feeling that, it's almost as if because of your authenticity, because your intuition, you're more authentic because you just know what's right.
That's what it is. It's a knowingness. Yes. Yeah. And when you step out and do something against your intuition, which we always do, you know it right away. Like, again, we have intuition and sometimes you don't follow it. And then and you're like beating yourself up. Yep, I knew it. But that's helpful. It helps strengthen. And you're like, okay, next time maybe I'll listen to myself,
we could do 15 podcasts on. Tell us about the time you went against your intuition and what happened. Oh, my gosh. I mean, I can go decades back. And I'll even say that relationship that I mentioned a moment ago, I know my intuition said quite some time ago, it's just not going the way it should. And what is should? That's what I feel I need to be authentic.
And no one can tell you. Things can look great on paper, and everyone can be telling you it's the right thing. They're the right person for you, but you know it. That's again authenticity. Yeah.
But this also gets in the way, because then you think, well, there are some good points, but then but the fundamental aspect is just like, no, that's not. No, because it's your intuition screaming at you, saying, "Turn the car around." There's better time spent in other relationships or with people, or whatever it might be. Okay. Dharma, let's go there.
Yes. So again, what you just said, how your intuition is getting heightened, I think that's true for everyone. And it should be, because again, going down, we just passed Halloween, and there's a reason why it's so spooky and we all talk about it. It's actually true that, quote, the veils are thinnest that time of the year. So we all were getting guides and little nudges from our guides and, ancestors, however you want to think of them, out there connecting to us. So that's all really true. So in addition to that, I really think this is the time we're in the center of the photon band, whatever you want to say. There's so many things that are happening that we're all being nudged. Come on, this is really critical, to like step in to your Dharma journey. And it's time for remembrance. Like, I think that's why your intuition's getting kicked up, because we're all starting to really, the more we follow it, they're telling us, and we're going to start remembering, I think, past lives and different things we've done. And that's where Dharma comes in, because we all know what karma is. You do something and it comes back at you. It's very important to, not have bad karma, good go your way. You got to work it off. But Dharma, it was my understanding, is your soul's journey over its lifetime. When you die, your soul goes, somewhere you think, and you get reincarnated, and that's your Dharma. There's a longer, multiple lifetime mission, soul purpose, right? And so karma's your single life purpose while you're here. So I think right now we're getting really in touch and kind of get an inkling like, this is my dharma. What's my dharma? So I think that's what right now, and again, back to the Alan Clay, he's saying it's a time of rapid, consciousness where we're kind of all going to get an inkling and a feeling and more in touch with our dharma, which is good because we should be acting on our true life purpose and soul journey and back to our authentic selves and really manifesting that into being. Because I truly believe we all are here for a reason. We're all masters. We all have gifts, right? And we all need to share them. So find your community and share it with your community. That's what we're here to do. Not sit here and have all the knowledge and hide in a rocky cave. No. It's not going to help anybody or yourself. We're supposed to have these gifts and share them with one another. We all have great, unique things where I always used to hear, I read a book, I forget it was called Crucial Conversations, but it was all about, it helped me through project management and all that. And it's truly how you create a pool of trust for just that reason. So people come to you and then they realize, well, one, you're not going to, give away who told you negative things that are coming your way. But, as a project manager, and if you're not an employee, how would I know of half these risks that are coming? If key power users don't tell me why the system doesn't work, every month this fails, if they tell me, I'll know it right away and I know what to look out for. And then we can change it and fix it, right? So you want to have that pool of trust and the project will succeed if people know that you're there for an authentic reason. You're not here to tell on them or think of, something else. You really just want to know to fix these issues. So it's really creating that pool of trust with a community that you trust. So, be aware, use discernment, different than judging, but discernment to know who's being true to you authentically, and then share your gifts with those that are being in your community and helping versus just taking that knowledge and hiding it away or taking that patent and throwing it under a rock. That's not going to help any of us.
So we have a couple of minutes left. I have two questions for you.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the retrograde, which is about to start.
Yes. Yes.
In a sentence, what do we expect in this retrograde? What are the important points that we should be mindful of?
Freedom to fail. Don't be afraid to step out. Because again, how do you stand in your authenticity if you don't take that first step forward? So again, the first way to manifest is to think about what you want, then do actions that actually reinforce what you really want and what you desire, because you're never going to get anywhere if you don't take that first step. So there is divine timing. So don't step forward if you're not ready. But if you do and you fall on your face, guess what? You're still here. Likely you're not, nothing's happened. You're just maybe embarrassed, but go for it. So again, freedom to fail doesn't mean go out there and do crap you shouldn't be doing. But what it should mean is don't avoid being stuck or being stagnant or procrastination. Those are all excuses. Step out and be seen and find your community and go forward, because together we're meant to build things versus, again, hide our knowledge under a cave. Wow. It's not going to help anyone there.
All right. Last question. Now it's like, man, I only have 30 seconds left. Tarot cards.
Yes.
Do you believe in them? Do you use them?
Yes. I do both. Yes. And I truly believe in them. Yes.
I just started a couple of months ago. I'm using angel cards by, I can't think of his name. Kyle Gray. I don't know if that rings a bell.
Wonderful.
And
I have so many decks. I love them. And when I'm just bored or whatever, and I'm just sitting around, I will definitely take a card. It's always interesting. Nothing is by chance. Synchronicity. Yes. It's a message you're meant to get. Yes.
I struggle with when you're pulling a card, how is the card is meant, no matter where you pull it from in the deck, that's the card that was meant to come out, or three.
Because it's intuition. Yeah. So if you're following it and picking the right card, that's your message.
Okay. By the way, final thought. Remember I said that, that relationship, the plane crash, whole thing?
Yeah.
I did a 3-card pull. One of the cards says cut the cord. I can't make it up. And I actually took a picture of it. I could show it to you. And I was going to send it to them because they know I'm a little aware of this kind of stuff. But that's why it doesn't work, because they don't get this kind of stuff and don't. Right. And that's your choice. But then I was like, what's the point? But it said cut the cord. Holly, love you. You're just amazing. You're like a ball of fire. Introvert? No. How do we find you? How do we connect with you? If somebody is looking for deeper insight, what do we do?
Yes. Well, my first nonprofit website is I Love Nature, but the I is EYE. Remember? So it's I Love Nature. Because of my vision, I actually saw an I. So it's ilovenature.com. And then I also have my new website, which is newleafhumanity.solar. So it's not .com, although I own that, but it's newleafhumanity.solar. And that's where I actually have my executive coaching. And there's a couple programs in there. It's a 10-week program and a 7 steps for 7 songs course, which actually is, if you don't have like a bigger specific goal in mind, the 10-week is to really, it's structured, it's practical. You'll really get there. We'll build a plan. It's strategic. There's homework. The 7 steps for 7 songs is we go through something every week, and then you listen to a song that you choose that reinforces that lesson for you. And then that whole week, you listen to it at least morning, noon, and before you go to bed, and hopefully many other times to reinforce that. And by the end, 7 steps to mastery. You've got and hopefully aligned and opened your chakras, balanced them, and now you're just connected to Gaia and the cosmos and learning your Dharma and moving on your way.
Amazing. I could go for hours talking with you. I'm not even kidding. And music is everything in my life. And even that relationship that I was referring to, for months prior to all that, I was listening to a song called Change of Heart by Tom Petty. It was a medium hit in like 1982, but all the words, and I don't want to think that I manifested where it went, but it was right there. Amazing. Yeah. Thank you. Learned a lot, and good luck to everybody with the new moon, and embrace it and everything else that's coming our way. All right. We will be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.